Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. It's going to be fun, and you are going to learn a lot about human mentality, the relationship, the love life, and what goes into a person's mind actually. So, we have all our members here, our lovely guests. So, first of all, let me introduce you to our guest, Shizuka, amazing speaker, lovely voice, Napster, great soul, such an intelligent person. Like you can't help being impressed. Priya, the mind behind all of this, the mastermind. Berlin, amazing tech guru. It's like he can do whatever you want. He can do editing, he can compile videos, audios. He's just a great personality. And our Nick Teen is our little tiny kid who's amazing, who is so intelligent, speaks amazing English, and his accent, wow. So let's hop on to the questions. First of all, I'll be asking a question to Shizuka. So, Shizuka, why do you think relationships matter?
What's my opinion about the relationships? Actually, I haven't created with anyone, but if I will talk about the relationship I am in so far, so for me, as humans, we have an inherent desire to be close to other people, to connect and build relationships. So here, just I exactly mean relationship are the institution of a meaningful life. We broadly define ourselves by our relationship and by those who surrounded us. We depend on others for our survival. And trust me, life is more comfortable when we share our success and failures. So if you will ask about the particular relationship, so it's really a such kind of bond for me that plays a vital role for many different reasons, such as increasing our emotional well-being, creating stability, learning how to become a good friend or partner, having someone to rely on. These are the things that I think that I personally believe the relationship matters in it. Yeah, it can be selfishness sometimes because we make it for our own purpose, for fulfilling our own desires and needs. But it is also true sometimes we need someone for holding us emotionally, mentally, or to share our happiness and ups and downs. So basically, you can't enjoy these kind of feelings if you are alone. So there should be someone to share these emotions with. So for me, that's why relationship matters, and we should create it. It should be a lovely bond if we will make with someone.
Amazing answer. Your points are totally apt. Like, you really get comfortable when you share something with someone and it increases your mental well being. Perfect answer. So, next, I would like to ask a question to Napster. Napster, how do you think relationships can be handled? I mean, the uncertainties that come in relationships.
Okay. For me, uncertainties is something which is very certain in a relationship, and when there are two people involved, uncertainties always come, and it's totally up to you and your partner that how you can get over with it. I think the best part to handle any kind of uncertainty in a relationship is to act maturely, first of all. Second thing, talk it out. This is something that most of the people don't do. If there is any misunderstanding, if there is any problem between two people, you should talk it out instead of just creating more and more misunderstandings and judging the other person for something they have done wrong, or if something has done wrong, like they did something wrong even by mistake, you should not judge them. It's better to talk it out, and I feel like this is the best way to handle any kind of uncertainty which is coming in between two people, especially when they are in a relationship.
Incredible answer. And the point you said, uncertainties are certain. That is true. So Napster's point is, you need to act maturely, talk it out with your partner, and don't judge. Try to understand the other person's perspective and the problems in his or her life. Very well answered. Next, move on to
Absolutely.
Priya. My question is, how do you think relationships fail? What are the downfalls or the things that lead it to downfall?
Okay, nice question. So this problem is very common in youngsters nowadays. For a romance to stand the test of time, you need to be committed and willing to work at it. And while there are many natural reasons why relationship doesn't work out, so that is why timing, diverging growth, differing values, and very more reasons. So there are many avoidable reasons that will cause any relationship to fail, like non-acceptance, lack of trust, and poor communication. So relationship fails because we don't understand the interest of each other and we don't want to understand that thing. We don't give the much priority to her needs. When we don't give them time to any relationship, breakup is the destiny of such relationship. So to avoid this, we should always take care of the interest, need, priorities of our partners. We should always give time to her or him. We should always pass good compliments and we should obviously careful towards her. That's it.
Amazing. So your point basically was that lack of communication leads to a downfall of a relationship. And obviously, oftentimes, one partner doesn't seem to be that interested in others' problems. And human beings genuinely, like by their nature, are self-centered. They like to talk about themselves, all about themselves. What clothes they got, what job they got, what new app they downloaded, what game they are good in. So amazing point. Lack of interest makes or leads a relationship towards downfall. So my next question is to Nick Distin. Nick Distin, what are your thoughts around money, finances, and income requirements? Like in consideration to relationships, how can you tackle these things?
Okay, so money is not everything, but money is something very important. Beyond the basic needs, money helps us achieve our life goals and supports. It helps us to get some of life's intangibles, freedom or independence, the opportunity to make the most of our skills and talents, the ability to choose our own course in life, financial security. But money has its own limitations too. It can give us the time to appreciate the simple things in life more fully, but not the spirit of innocence and wonder necessary to do so. Money can give us the power to make a difference in the lives of others, but not the desire to do so. It can give us the time to develop and nurture our relationship, but not the love and caring necessary to do so. We always think if we just had a little bit more money, we would be happier. But when we get there, we are not. Once you get basic human needs, a lot more money doesn't make a lot more happiness. One who figures out what he truly values and then align his money with those values have the strongest sense of financial and personal well-being.
Very well spoken, Nick Distin. Obviously, money is important and it brings a lot of happiness to our life because oftentimes our happiness is attached to material things. Like if I talk about myself, if I buy a new purse, I'll surely be happy. And if my partner, if he buys some new mobile phone or a new tech, obviously he'll be happy. And I would like to add a point that if in a relationship we manage to create equal opportunities to generate income and then invest equal amount of money in our livelihoods, in the furniture, in groceries, and if possible or if not possible to invest or include equal amount, we can at least share a ratio. Like if I earn 25,000, I'll at least give 5 to 10% of my income to that. So that will be pretty fair. So let's move on to our next guest. Berlin, what do you think are the psychological impacts of money on a relationship?
Well, that's a very good question, Ilani. You know what? Love is an emotional based relationship. It is a spiritual supported bond. Literally. There is no role of money in the relationship based on love and affection. However, for a complete social living, money plays a key role. To fulfill the basic need of your partner, you need a healthy earning. And there is no secret that the modern time relation conflict is largely based on money, isn't it? I think nowadays most of the female dreams about healthy, prosperous, and comfortable post married life. I guess you also have the same. And in case a husband does not fulfill this dream, it turns out to be a common ground for the family turmoil. So I think at least they should be capable of fulfilling the basic financial needs of the partner and themselves.
Beautifully answered. And what you said about females, yeah, correct. Most of us do have that white horse prince wala dream, but that always does not come true. So it's fine, it's life. I am sure males must also be having some kind of expectations, not certainly around money or riches, but maybe beauty or intelligence. So far, this podcast has been going amazing. So let's move on to our guest, Shizuka. How do you think we can build a healthy relationship? Like the pros and cons, the things we should do and what we should not.
Hmm, quite impressive one. But building a healthy relationship, it's like every relationship is good. But if you're talking about the healthy one, then for me, the requirement of building a healthy relationship are quite fundamental. First, love should be exist in it. Of course, without love, we won't create relationship. But sometimes love is not enough. You need to give your time, your attention to your partner too. Just make your bond strong enough with the person that even if the situation is very hard, he or she understands. So I think understanding is the basic root of it. And a healthy relationship, it doesn't mean that we guys will not fight. Sometimes our point of view doesn't match with each other, so it can be the cause of fight. So do fight, but it should not be long lasting. And learn how to say sorry if you're wrong. This is the basic requirement that a relationship demand. And trust your partner. And always be thankful to God you have someone to share the things with. And I think relationship more than anything are a choice. We have to make every single day, reminding ourselves just how lucky we really are to be holding someone's hand who wants us, who chooses us, who fights for us. So building a healthy relationship is also up to a person how much love, respect, trust, and way of understanding he or she will provide to the another person. It's my point of view about it.
Beautifully answered. So it's very important to look over or avoid the mistakes one does. And it's also important to say sorry to them sometimes because oftentimes we become egoistic that it's their mistake. Why should I apologize? And Ruhika made and Shizuka made a great point over here that we are lucky to have someone in your life because not everyone has one. So you should respect. And another disclaimer over here if you find the person toxic, be brave enough to move out of the relationship. Even though we are talking about healthy relationships, it's a good advice to have over here. Nice? Okay, let's move on to our next guest, Napster. How do you deal with difficult emotions in a relationship or difficult times?
Okay. So this is something not unusual because everybody who has been in a relationship, there are always ups and downs, and with each and every down, there is a difficult situation and a sad emotion for sure. So I would really say that the best way to deal with it is to let it be like that only. For example, don't push your sadness to somebody else, especially to your partner. What happens is most of the times when we are upset on something or if we are just disheartened, we try to bother the other one. It's better to take some time for yourself, think about the things that you have done which has led to these kind of circumstances, and take out a solution for it. And if you are not able to find a solution, just go with the flow and let it be. Spend time with yourself instead of spending time for like with somebody else, because what happens is if you are trying for some support, eventually you end up being in a troubled position. So it's better that you spend time with yourself, ask yourself the questions that where you were wrong, which has led to these kind of circumstances. And I think that this is the most suitable way that has always been working for me. So this is all I want to say about this situation.
Very mature answer, Napster. Which reminds me, the sentence you said like right now, like don't push your sadness onto someone else, it reminds me of a quote said by someone, which goes like, if you're having a bad day, you do not have a right to ruin someone else's life. Such a mature answer. You should give time to your relationships, and eventually, time heals everything. So
Absolutely.
let's move on to the next question. Priya, how prepared are you to make the right relationship decision?
Okay, so I believe I will be able to deal effectively with conflicts in my relationship. There is nothing like preparing for a relation, actually. For me, it is matter of shouldering responsibility as being a wife, as being a mother of my children, as being a parent. And I believe once we get matured with an earning hand, we can go for marriage. We should understand our role as a parents, marriage, but the decision for marriage can be taken once when we sensitize our role with the same thoughts like marriage, remarriage, or both early and late marriage. And I prefer to marry once I realize to be a good wife and a good mother. And I'm really very confident when I think of having a stable and long-term relationship because I have the skills needed for a lasting and stable relationship. Thanks.
Wow, Priya, such a great comment. Like you really think you are ready for like handling a relationship? Wow, that's so impressive. I
Yes, ma'am.
am. I honestly am not, and I don't know how many of us are. So good luck. Let's move on to our next participant, Nick's team. Nick's team, what do you consider as the deal breakers in a relationship?
Okay. So, deal breakers in a relationship are the things that will cause you to call it quit, no matter how long you have been together. I would like to mention a few deal breakers for me, although everyone's list of deal breaker may not be exactly the same. So, these are the few that many of us can probably agree upon. So, first is when they won't address the issue that you present. For instance, if you have approached the topic to your partner, becomes guarded or even defensive, this could be a deal breaker. Secondly, if you are not on the same page when it comes to finances, as we have already mentioned, finance play a major role. Then third one is if you don't have the same values, like when you choose your partner, you should consider all aspects of the person. That includes comparing their values to yours. Like, do they see eye to eye on values like integrity, ambitions, love of family, and other things important to you? And the last but not the least is, like when they get upset, they fight dirty. It's like the most common amongst every relationship because like everyone gets angry on occasions, and sometimes we even say terrible things that we don't mean. The deal breaker arises. However, when people get nasty during every argument, like name calling, gaslighting, and falling to listen are all traits that lead to misery in a relationship. So, yeah, that's it.
Great answer, Nick. Like not tending to the problems is probably one of the leading causes. Let's move on to Shizuka now. Shizuka, this is a question that's of utmost importance. I need you to answer this with explicit honesty, okay? The question of the era or the decade. How to find love?
How to find love? Yeah, okay, especially when it comes to talk about the love, I have some strange feelings regarding it. So if I will try to explain this question, it will be like, I firmly believe there is a precise time for everything. So don't be in hurry. First focus on your career and make your life. But still, during the journey of this life, we meet with different people. Some of them get our crush. Some of them are with whom we get attracted, and we start thinking we find love. I'm not saying it is wrong or right. Feel happy with the person you are right now as a your special one. But when it comes to finding a love, sometimes it takes only a few minutes to find it. Sometimes it takes too long to even understand the meaning of it. And most often, just a name can define the meaning of love for you. So the journey is not too short. There is no need to worry about how you will find your love. Keep patience, keep working on yourself. And I'm damn sure if you are not able to find your love, your love will definitely find you if you will be a deserving one. So patiently wait for the day when you will be able to find this word and will be able to feel it with someone.
Excellent. If you are unable to find love, love will find you. Wow. So, Berlin, my question to you: how can we manage the big emotions like divorce and breakup in a relationship and still manage to stay calm?
That's a very interesting question again. You know, breakup in relationship is not an exception. Most of the cases in relationship ends up with a blast, giving pain and despair to the person. It seems impossible to sustain the life without outgoing person, and it is hard to recover from deep relationship failure. It creates blockade in the flow of the life. Mostly we mull over in desperation and disappointment. But here comes the interesting part. There is a saying that once we fall down, we learn to stand up by ourselves. This is the point where we have to start our mind using. Keep your heart in a dormant state for some time. Let the mind speak in a logical way, unlike heart. You gotta use your logical window of this mind, okay? Think positively, tender hope with a challenge to do something worthwhile in life. Mind appreciate for a new creative interesting things. Use this energy for achieving pride for yourself. And once you've gone through the breakup, you're gonna know different aspects of relationship, and next time whenever you will be dealing with it, you will be better person. You know where you can lag behind, and you know where you can do better. You are gaining experience out of it. So I think we should not take it too much in a negative way. Once in a life, I think everybody goes through it. And according to the experience, what I feel like, if you are going through this phase, the most important thing is to avoid overthinking about the past relationship. And better it will be to have a busy hand than mull around to the distressed person. Consider your past mistake or incident which is dead for you. And now, since you can't do anything about it, you gotta start something new. Try to keep yourself busy with something else and get the experience for the next time.
Very mature answer, Berlin. And there's a quote which says it is better to have loved and lost than not loved at all. Stands true in all phases of life, I guess. Mm. And yeah, experience never fails. You can always use experience in all fields of life, be it love or you know what? Okay, let's skip it. Let's move on to Napster now. Napster, my question to you is: what does a balanced relationship look like? What are the elements, tiny little things that you do for each other? What are those?
Okay, balanced relationship. It's a nice word to hear, but it's very hard to attain this balance because every time there is a dispute because of this only. So for me, I feel like efforts from both the sides are very important. It should not be one-sided at all. It doesn't matter what the topic is, even if it's about just the opening of the gate when you are going to a place. It's a gesture. It doesn't matter if the girl is doing or the boy is doing. And there are other things like doing gestures on their special day. For example, not just on the dates, because dates are very common. You will always find people doing good things on dates. But other than that, on your normal days, whenever you are going out, small gesture like writing, getting a card, or giving small gift, taking care of small things is very important in a relationship, because what happens is other person is also seeing your efforts, even if it's the interview of her. If you are doing some effort, you are going out of your way and helping her out in anything, it is a gesture towards her, and she can also do the same. So if both the parties, like the guy and the girl, is doing same gestures towards each other, if the efforts are from the both sides, I think balance can be attained. But sometimes it is very hard, because what happens is, if things go wrong ways, then always they blame onto each other that you did nothing in the relationship and you did nothing in the relationship. But the true fact is, if both the parties are doing their best part, whatever they can do, and take care of each other's feelings and the days that they are spending together, I think this is the best thing that they can do to maintain the balance in the relationship. So this was my take on this question, and I feel like this is the advice that I really want to give to other people who are listening to this.
Obviously, the little things in life matter. And there's also a saying which goes like, be with someone who doesn't hesitate to walk an extra mile with you. Such a pretty thing. So let's move on to Priya now. Priya, how important is agreement in long term relationships? What is your take on that?
Okay, so agreement means I can sense that it's a marriage. So mostly relation like marriage start with an agreement of marriage. But once marriage has been done, the relation becomes an emotional bond. So the mutual love, sacrifice, and mutual understanding makes a relation long going. For me, concept of agreement in a relationship is to only acknowledge a relationship and is to only acknowledge a relation in the eye of society. So there is nothing inside the relationship. It's always a concept of agreement, but there is a bond called love, family, and sacrifice. So according to me, agreement is mostly used in legal sense contract called marriage. And when it comes to fundamental aspects of your relationship, it may seem obvious that you can more your partner will be agree, it will be better for you. Yeah, that's from my side.
Well answered. That agreements are mostly in verbal or written contracts. But yeah, there's a kind of understanding, mutual understanding, we can say, not kind of understand agreement, but mutual understanding that both the parties have, and they decide to live for one another. Beautifully answered. So my next question is to Nick Testing. Nick Testing. What, according to you, is something you cannot compromise in your relationship or when you are in a relationship with someone?
Okay, so firstly, in order to make your better half feel cherished and loved, you will always find yourself like adjusting and accommodating as you start doing things together. And this is what compromise is. But I really feel that there is certain things which we should never really compromise on. Firstly, is our individuality in a relationship. It should be never compromised. Our values and our nature, characteristics that makes us who we are today. Second thing is the bond with our family. Like it is highly possible that the wavelength of our partner and our family does not match. Most of the time, it will possess us a dilemma, like about how to make sure that your family and your partner see eye to eye. But we cannot change how both the parties feel. But if your partner fails to respect the bond you share with your family, like then it should be a matter of concern, and it's not okay to compromise that thing in a relationship. And the last is the friends you have and the time you spend with them. If your partners wants to give up hanging out with your friends or demands your time when you have something planned with them, so kindly ensure that you do not yield their pressure, because it's not a healthy way to compromise in a relationship. You should not stop seeing your friends or treat them any less important, especially if they have always been there for you. So your friendship does not suddenly come to an end just because you are now in a relationship. For me, these are the certain things which we should never compromise on while being in a relationship.
Such a mature answer, Nick Testing. Like, I totally agree with all your points. You should never compromise your individuality, your family, and friends. But on the same time, I also think that there can be certain adjustments that can be made. For example, if your partner is spending a lot of time with her friends, then obviously there will be a little insecurity within you. So, what we can do instead is reduce the time we give to them and spend a little extra time with our partners. That will be a little better. We cannot outright reject everything and deny all the relationships we have. Very well answered. So, my next question is to Berlin. Berlin, how can you really know what your partner thinks of you? It's a bit of tricky question. So before Berlin answers this question, I wanted to present my opinions on this. Well, I honestly think that in order to know what my partner is thinking about me, the first and foremost thing I can do is observe the way he looks at me. Is he spying on me or is he glaring at me? That's the instant thing. You can understand the mood or whether he is looking at you lovingly or he is jealous. That's one way to tell what he thinks of you. Next can be how he behaves in front of you. If he is taking care of you or not. It's not mandatory to pick the fork for your partner, but if you do, that's a little extra gesture that can make a big difference in your relationship. So that was my point. Meanwhile, I'll just throw this question on our viewer, Bittu. Bittu, since you are here, you are in a danger zone. You have to answer it. How can you really know what your partner thinks of you? You have to kind of read your partner's mind. Come on, answer.
Actually, it is said that actions are louder than words. So it is really simple. Just try to put your partner in those kind of situations where they have to show with their actions whether what they think about us. And definitely it takes time.
Okay, yeah, it definitely takes time to understand your partner and to know what's going in his or her mind. So it has been a really interactive session. Got to know a lot, learn a lot about relationships. And lastly, I would want one of our partners here, Kiana, to open up and give one relationship advice to end the session, and we'll be done then.
If I have to give a relationship advice to my viewers, then I think that would be to trust others. Like if you are trusting others, then they'll definitely give your time, and you guys will. Trust is a really important thing, and communication is the second one. So trust and communication. Please trust each other, and if you guys have got any problem, communicate with each other. You guys will definitely make it work. That's it.
Beautifully answered. So, thanks to all of my guests present over here. It has been such a wonderful experience to talk to all of you, and hope we'll meet again in the future. Take care of yourselves, and we'll end it over here. Bye bye.